Right now, somewhere in your city, a human being is sitting inside a 2-ton metal box, moving at 70 miles an hour, just 3 feet away from another human being doing the exact same thing. Both of them are tired. One of them might be looking at their phone, and we call this commuting. We call it normal. But 100 years from now, when people look back at footage of us doing this every single day, they're not going to see commuting. They're going to see something that looks a lot more like a horror movie. Think about how we usually do this. We look back, we look at ancient humans and laugh at how they slept in piles for warmth, or how they had zero privacy for 300,000 years. We feel a little superior. Wow, glad I don't live like that. But here's the uncomfortable question nobody asks. What if someone, someday, looks back at us the exact same way? Today, we're not going to guess randomly about the future. We're going to do something more interesting. We're going to look at what's already happening right now in 2026 and use it to figure out exactly how strange one specific part of our daily life is going to look. And the topic is something almost every American does without a second thought: driving a car. Let's start with the numbers, because they're worse than you think. In the United States alone, more than 39,000 people died in traffic crashes in a single recent year. That's not a typo. That's over 100 people every single day, dying inside the exact same activity you'll probably do this afternoon. And here's the part that should really stop you. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, somewhere between 94 and 96% of all car accidents are caused by human error, not weather, not mechanical failure, and us. Our reaction time, our distraction, our exhaustion, our decision to glance at a text message for 5 seconds, which, at highway speed, is the same as driving the length of a football field with your eyes closed. We've normalized this. We give teenagers a 2-ton machine and 14 years of life experience. And we call it a rite of passage. Try explaining that to someone from outside this century and watch their face. Now here's where it gets interesting, because this isn't even new information. We've known cars were dangerous since the day we invented them. And we kept driving anyway. We just built an entire infrastructure of acceptance around it. Insurance companies, traffic lawyers, hospital trauma wards specifically designed around car crash injuries. We built a whole economy around cleaning up after a problem we chose not to fix. Compare that to almost anything else in modern life. If a kitchen appliance killed 100 people a day, it would be recalled in a week. If an airline lost a plane every single day, nobody would ever fly again. But a car kills the equivalent of a small airplane crash's worth of people daily, and we just keep going. We even gave it a comforting name: accidents. Like it's nobody's fault, like it's just the weather. So why bring this up now? Because the alternative isn't science fiction anymore. It's already on American roads. Waymo's self-driving cars have now driven over 170 million miles without a human behind the wheel. And when researchers compared their safety record directly against human drivers in the same cities, the results were not close. Fewer injury crashes, far fewer crashes involving airbags going off, a dramatic drop in pedestrian injuries. This isn't a prediction about some far-off future. This is a measurement of something happening right now, in Phoenix, in San Francisco, in Austin. The machines are already, on average, getting into fewer injury-causing crashes than we are. And that's the moment future generations are going to zoom in on. Not the moment self-driving cars became perfect. They're not perfect yet. And there are still real debated problems with the technology. But the moment we had clear, public, measurable proof that human-controlled driving was the more dangerous option, and most of us kept doing it anyway, because we like the feeling of control. This isn't even the first time this has happened in transportation history. For decades, doctors didn't know smoking caused cancer. Then the data came in, and people kept smoking anyway because the habit felt too good to give up. We look back at that now and find it almost unbelievable that lit cigarettes used to be handed out on airplanes. Or think about seatbelts. It took the United States until the 1980s to make seatbelt laws standard, even though the safety data had existed for years before that. People resisted. It felt like government overreach into something deeply personal, how you sit in your own car. Every single time the pattern is the same. The safety data shows up first, and the emotional resistance to giving up control shows up right after, and lasts for decades. We are living through that exact gap right now with self-driving technology. The data is already here. The resistance is what's taking time. So picture it. 100 years from now, a kid is standing in front of a glass display in a museum. Behind the glass, a steering wheel, a gas pedal, a rearview mirror. The placard reads something like, "Manual driving controls, early 21st century. For nearly 150 years, humans personally operated high-speed vehicles using only their own eyes, reflexes, and judgment. Despite knowing this method caused tens of thousands of deaths every year in the United States alone." The kid turns to their parent and asks the exact question we ask about ancient humans sleeping in piles for warmth. Wait, they controlled it themselves? On purpose? Every day? And the parent says, yeah, they even let 16-year-olds do it. That's not a joke, that's just where the data is already pointing. It's worth saying, this isn't some fringe idea. Major automakers, transportation researchers, and city planners around the world have already published projections suggesting that within a few decades, owning and personally driving a car could become the exception, not the norm in major cities. Closer to how we think about horseback riding today. A skill some people still enjoy, but nobody depends on to get to work. So here's the real question this leaves you with. It's not, will self-driving cars take over? The data already suggests that's coming, one way or another. The real question is, which side of history do you want to be on when it happens? The generation that calmly handed over the wheel once the numbers were undeniable, or the generation future humans talk about the way we talk about people who kept smoking after the warning label, the way we talk about ancient humans who knew the dangers and just lived with them anyway, because that's what they were used to. Either way, somebody's going to be standing behind glass one day, looking at a steering wheel. The only question is, how long it takes us to admit that. So tomorrow morning, when you walk out to your driveway and you pull that metal handle to get in, take a second to really look at your car, look at the pedals, look at the wheel, realize what you are actually holding. You are sitting inside the twilight of an era. You are actively participating in one of the last great, dangerous experiments of modern human history. And one day, you'll try to explain the freedom of the open road to a kid who has never had to touch a steering wheel. You'll tell them about the wind, the control, the rush of accelerating onto a highway, and they'll just look at you like you're crazy. And the hardest part for us to admit is that they'll be absolutely right.